Hi, this is Murray from Second Time Tech, and today we are going to turn on the computer build for the first time. I think I got it set up correctly, but I'll have to edit out a few pieces because I've got my camera here from my cell phone. That's the Xiaomi Max 2. And then I've got my regular camera there in front of me. And this is the first time I'm doing it, so my fingers crossed. Hope she works. And so this might be a little bit long. I'm sorry for that, but I'll try to edit some of it down, the parts that don't need to be in there. And so first thing that I got to do is I have to switch my monitor to another input that's connected to this one, and then we'll go on from there. Well, now that I've got the monitor set up correctly and the computer plugged in and all that sort of good stuff, we should be able to get a picture going there now. So we'll be turning it on for the first time. Sometimes the boards take a while to get going on the first time, so the monitor doesn't seem to stay on for very long. So sometimes I have to turn the monitor on twice. And there we go. We got post. And it says that it's a AMD Ryzen 4 2400G with Radeon Vega graphics. And it's got all the information there. And then it's got the DRAM. Oh, it's only in single channel mode because I only put one of the memory modules in. I had to take the other one out. And it has a keyboard and a mouse. And it has a Kingston drive and a 1 terabyte Western Digital drive. And then it says something had changed since the last time. So therefore, you have to press F1 to run setup, or F2 to load the default values, and continue. Well, since something's new, we have to press F1. So you just press F1 on your keyboard, and then that brings you into the BIOS. And then on the BIOS, all you're doing is checking to make sure everything was right. And it's saying that that's the right motherboard. And it says the CPU is the Ryzen 5 2400G again, and the memory size again, and tells you the CPU temperature and the motherboard temperature. And then it gives you all the information down in here. Now the only thing that we want to do is, because it's saying that the memory is at 2400 megahertz, and that's like the default. So basically what you want to do is you want to go into the advanced settings, which is you either press F7 or you click on the top row where it says advanced settings. And then down here there's a thing that says OC, and that's for overclocking. So you just press that, and then what you're doing is you go down until you see the memory. and it's on this one, it's called DRAM settings, and it's A-XMP. Now on the Asus motherboard, it's called something else. I can't quite remember, but it's basically, as long as they're talking about RAM, then you go in there. I think every other one calls it XMP because that's the actual name of it, is XMP profile. So that one's disabled. So what we're going to do is we're going to enable it, and we're going to put it at profile 2. Because on the screen, if you can see, profile 1 says that it's 2400 megahertz, and profile 2 is set for 2667 megahertz. And that's what this RAM is rated for. So even though that RAM is rated for that, the motherboard thinks that it is an overclock, but it isn't. It's what the memory is rated for. So you go in there and you do that. You set it up for that. So now it comes up and says AXMP profile 2, which is right down here. And it is 2667 megahertz. And then now you can go to DRAM frequency, and it says auto. Now, if you want to overclock it to 2800 megahertz, which I've run on this and it runs fine, since it's in auto mode, it'll run at the 2667. But if you click on it, it gives you a whole list of what frequencies you can run it to, like all the way up to 4000. But what you'd want to do is run it at 2733 or 2800. So if you click on that and you look down here, instead of saying auto, now it says DDR4 2800, and it will run at 2800 megahertz. But I'm not going to do that right now because we want to make sure everything's working fine. You would try that after. So I just want to show you. So we'll just put it back at auto, and then in there it's saying it's going to run at 2667 megahertz. So that's all you have to do for this one. So now what you have to do is you have to save it. And the way you save it is you click on the X, and it says save, auto configuration, and exit. And here it's telling you what you did. And all you did was you changed the XMP profile from disabled to profile 2. And that's what we did. And we wanted to save it, so we go yes. If something's wrong in there, you just go no, and then you just go back and change. Like, if you happen to click on something wrong, you just go no, go back into where you were, fix it up the way you want, and then click yes, and then hit the X at the top right hand corner, and then just click yes if it's correct when it says in that gray area. So we'll click yes. And I already have Windows loaded on this, so we'll see what it does. Hopefully she works. But my monitor turned off again, and that's just the sake of this monitor because it's a PS3 monitor, Sony, and for some reason it will not turn on whenever it takes too long for the signal from the computer to get to the monitor. It's like it has to be almost instantaneous. Most monitors are not like that. It's only one on here, and that's this one here. And it says there was a problem connecting to OneDrive, and the problem is we're not connected to the internet, and that's what the problem is. So it's saying to try again. So we're not going to bother doing that. So we will just exit out of it. There. So now we've got Windows up and running. and we can go in and we can check the task manager. The window a little bigger. Because it didn't want to stay bigger. So we'll make it bigger again. And even though there are no programs running, in the foreground, there's all this stuff running in the background. And this is a fresh install. And the thing to do is, if you want to get an inexpensive version of Windows, go to SCD Key and buy an international key from them. It's about $20, $22 Canadian for Windows 10 Pro, and get the Pro version because it gives you a lot more control over your system than the home version. And I think the home version is actually more expensive. So I would go with the Pro version. And whenever you buy it and you get the email from SCD Key, they'll tell you where to go to get the files to download. It's on the Microsoft site, and they also give you the key that you have to put in, security key if you want to call it, but the key for the program to put in, and you just type it in on the Microsoft Windows website, and then it'll come up, and then it'll ask you if you want to download it on the computer that you have, or do you want to put it on a USB key or drive, USB drive. And what I would do is I would get myself an 8 gigabyte USB drive that's clean, because it's going to make it bootable. So anything that's on there, it's going to delete it. So make sure if you're using a used one that there's nothing on there that you want, because it'll erase it. I would try to get a USB 3 USB thumb drive, because they're way faster than the USB 2 ones. So if you can get that, and then it'll actually load Windows faster, but you don't have to. It'll work fine if you have an older one that's USB 2. It's just a suggestion. But anyway, so there it is, up and running, and looking pretty good. And there are different things that you can do. You can watch the performance of it. And basically here it's telling you what your CPU is doing. And then there it's telling you what your memory is doing. And it's telling me that I've got 8 gigs of memory, which I do have. Because like I said, I only put the one stick in. I took one stick out because I only wanted it to have 8 gigs of memory, because that's what I'm suggesting that you use. Two 4 gig sticks. And so I'm trying to show you as close as it can be. But it's telling you up here it's 8 gigs. And it's telling you down in this area down here that it's using 1.3 gigs. And then you have 5.6 left. And so like I say, so there's showing the memory. And then it's showing you the disk drives. And this is the C drive, which is the Kingston S400, 120 gigabytes. And then the other one here is the 1 terabyte Western Digital drive. And so there it's kind of showing you all that. And that's all under Task Manager. And the way you get Task Manager, I did it, but I don't think you know. I didn't. What I'll do is I'll show you how to get the Task Manager up. So basically what you do is you go down here into the black area of the bar down here, anywhere where there isn't anything, and you right click, And then third one up from the bottom is called Task Manager. So you click that, and then whenever it first comes up, it's going to come up looking like this, blank. So what you're going to do is right down at the bottom here, it says more details. So you click the little down arrow on there, down arrow on that, a little tongue tied here. And then what I've been showing you is what's like, these are the tasks that are running right now, or processes that are running right now, excuse me. And the next one is called performance. And when you first saw it, the line was perfectly straight. So what you have here is whenever I ran Task Manager. So it's actually showing you what it did. And then it tells you about your memory. And it tells you about your disk use on disk 0 and disk 1. And so that's the C drive, disk 0, which is the SSD drive, the 120 gigabyte. And then the 1 terabyte hard drive is this one here. So that's basically what I have for today. And on my next video, I'll have a couple of benchmarks done, and, well, 3 for sure. And that'll be Cinebench and Firestrike. And there's another one, I just wish I could remember, Geekbench, I think it's called. If you liked the video, thumbs up. Didn't like the video, thumbs down. I do want to wish everybody a wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Bye.